Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening. I wanted to hop on real quick and let you know that I am now accepting sponsors. I was hesitant to do this at first because I wanted the sponsors and the products to really associate with the brand and the podcast, and I wanted it to align with what I'm doing. But I've decided to open up for sponsorship, and there's a couple of different options. You can do a single sponsorship or you can do a longer term. So let me know if that is anything that anybody might want to do. Hit me up on my website, livelifewithlauren.com, or you can find me on social media. Thanks.
Welcome to the Go With Your Gut podcast, a podcast to help you manage your mindset. Because if you don't manage your mind, it'll control you. With speaker, writer, and creator, Lauren Dreyer.
Again, mid to late 20s is where I'm at. Welcome again, everybody, to the Go With Your Gut podcast. We have such an honor today of having guest Dr. Lotus Riche, and I'm going to give you a little high level of her bio because I'm going to let her introduce herself. She can do herself, I think, a little bit more justice. She is the CEO of Lotus Riche Ignites Life Coaching and Consulting. She is the host of, well, let's just say a whole array of empowering online TV shows, and she is a highly sought after global international strategist and award-winning, internationally renowned empowerment mindset transformation keynote speaker. And I'm going to let her take it away because that should say it all. Lotus, welcome.
Thank you so much, Lauren. I'm super duper happy to be here. Hello to all of our viewers around the world. My name is Dr. Lotus Riche. I am the CEO of Lotus Riche Coaching and Consulting LLC. It's a corporation that helps people just like you in business all around the world to get in front of the people that are ready to purchase your services and your products. Our company helps you to craft your message in such a way that people are compelled to do business with you. The other thing that we do is we have various shows that help entrepreneurs and everyday lay people really connect with whatever their purpose and their journey is in life, and we help them tell the story. One of my shows is the Lotus Riche Ignite show, and that show is designed really to help you ignite and take flight in every area of your life, because every area of your life really needs great attention. And then, of course, Lauren, you already know Books to Boom Your Business. That's a show that I do once a month to help authors all around the world. One, if you're an author and you don't know who to connect to, Books to Boom Your Business is a show you definitely want to watch, because these authors have all different types of stories. They're from all walks of life, and they can help you get started in writing your book. And in our company, we actually can help you craft your book. We can edit your book, and we can help promote your book and get it going. The other show is 15 Minutes of Success with Dr. Lotus Riche, where I'm working with people just like Lauren to give 15 minutes of success. You give 5 tips to help people be just as exceptional as you are. And that's a couple of things of some of the stories. So I just wanted to share that. And Lauren, I want to thank you again for having me here. It's always a delight to be next to you. Thank you.
Absolutely, Lotus. Thank you so much. And guys, if that doesn't tell you how exciting it is to have Dr. Riche on today, I don't know what will, but we're going to jump right in because it is, again, such a treat to have her on. And we know that on this podcast, I talk about big experiences in life where we figure out and listen to that gut instinct of what should I do in this instance? And where does it align with me? Because we have so much coming at us from, well, every angle, right, Lotus? And
Yes.
It sometimes is really hard to tune out all of the white noise that isn't going to do us any good. So Lotus, tell me about that time or a time that you listened to your gut regarding a big life decision and it served you well.
Well, Lauren, I've had several, because I do so much, but I have so many different challenges that I face every day and decisions that I have to make. And one of the main things that I always take in consideration is what my mom and my dad taught me, is to really lean in on my gut. So I'm thankful really for your show because a lot of people aren't talking about this. So what I want to say is I had the opportunity to go to an event in Texas. And I had some other things that needed attention, and I was kind of spread thin, but I was able to work everything out rather than to say, well, I can't go to the event in Texas because I've got some other things going on. I was actually going to be sponsoring a few children, and at that time, really couldn't do it because I had some other things going on. But where there's a will, there's a way. So I focused, I stayed steadfast, I made my plans anyway. Rhonda Byrne talked about acting as if in The Secret. So I acted as if, I focused forward, and everything fell in place. And because I was able to attend that event, I met some miraculous people. I met a gentleman called 19 Keys, it's amazing. Met another billionaire in a magnificent business. But here's the thing, I was awarded the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. Now, imagine if I hadn't gone. I wouldn't have been able to hear the host of 40 Acres really say to me, Mr. Allen say to me, thank you, Lotus, for all the phenomenal work that you're doing around the world. We want to recognize you. Here we present you today the Lifetime or Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. I would have missed out on that opportunity. But following my gut, thinking and knowing and believing as if, focusing forward, moving forward in spite of all the obstacles, I was able to win, and I was able to help other people win just by me being there and connecting with them and them connecting with me. And I got to hear so many wonderful stories that really helped to impact my life for the better.
Absolutely. And I love how you worded that, because we get a lot of opportunities that we kind of just dismiss because for another reason, whatever it may be, like you said, there's a lot of things that come at us, and we can make the excuses as to why we don't have enough time, why, like you said, we have so much on our plates. We're spread so thin, but
Yes.
it's that place of I need to be there. I
Yes.
I'm gonna figure out how to make it happen. And for me, I don't know about you, a lot of those voices, those things come from internal, because it's it's hard in the beginning to act as if, as you
Yes.
put it.
Mhm.
And we have to, I read somewhere recently that it's like, okay, we have to get our mind there before the rest of us will follow.
Exactly.
And it is really, really hard to get yourself and your mind in that space of, I don't know what's going to happen. What
Yep.
happens if this
Yep.
is a complete waste of time? What happens? What happens if all these things? And it is, I have struggled a lot with, I call it that internal conflict, internal struggle. And I mean, kind of like that, it worked out beautifully for you. It launched you to a whole new place that you needed to be. It
Yeah.
got you, it showed you that recognition that you wouldn't necessarily have heard those words
Yes.
had you not figured out how to be there.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly. Exactly.
so when you're learning though to trust that piece of you, tell me about that experience.
Lauren, I think you and I, we've had the pleasure of having some conversations,
Yeah.
uh, and right before the show or after the show, when you were on with me. And some of the things that I've shared with you is really being able just to hone in on what's really going on the inside of ourselves, and really being able to accept it for what it is. Because I really believe that there is a higher source. Some people call this higher source God, Yahweh, Buddha, or what have you, or source energy. And I really believe when we gather in oneness, with source energy and really move out of the way, because a lot of times we stay in our own way. And that's why we're so stuck in many things we do. And that's why, again, I say ignite and take flight in every area of your life, because you really can. And so what I had to just embrace and go with, even in the moments of fear, Lauren, because a lot of times when we're facing challenges, we're stuck in fear, right? Ayala Van Sant said that she would tell fear, get out of my way. I'm not going to deal with you today. And so I take that same philosophy on, and I welcome the higher source energy to move people, places, and things on my behalf. And when I do that, I take out the worry and I take out the stress. And when I'm able to do that, things just begin to manifest much more quickly than if I just lean to my own understanding, try to do it all on my own, because none of us can do it alone.
No, absolutely not. So I'm kind of curious as to what you would say to this, because you and I are kind of on that same page of align with that higher power, because that's very much where I have found my strength too.
Yes.
But I know a lot of people that, because it's that unknown and because you can't see those results, you can't calculate how things are going to happen. And I mean, let's be honest, we can't control how it's all going to happen. How do you work through that from I'll say logistical mindset with that? Because a lot of people I know want to see numbers, they want to see projections, they want to see all those things in order to make a calculated effort. And yes, I agree, great to rely on that higher power, but for those people who don't necessarily, or maybe struggle with that, what would you tell them?
I have to say this. There's this book, and it's called the Bible. And in this book, there's a passage where it says, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not yet seen. And what I believe is that when we exercise that energetic faith, and we can have potential kinetic faith, right?
Yep.
And so I believe that when we exercise that faith, really put it in action, we're not just putting it in action in someone or an entity outside of ourselves. I believe we're putting that energy in action from the I am that's inside of us, that really ushers that energy outside of us to gravitate the very things that we need. And keeping it plain and simple, here is what I tell my clients. I'm a transformation strategist. I work with people all around the world, and it's plain and simple. This is what I tell them. It's not your business how it's going to happen. It's not your business. Just take your notepad. And I always tell people, note takers are money makers, and money makers are note takers, and they're change makers, but they can't make any changes unless they take notes, right? So write it down. I believe if we write what we want down, we breathe life into it, okay? Because we are energy, okay?
Yep.
But when we breathe life into it and keep it before us every day, I could, if I had a minute to stand up and show you all the stickies that I have around my office, I would show you. But I really know that this works because it's worked for me. Now, Lauren, I'm like many other people out there. I have my moments where I may feel some doubt. Why? Because of circumstances that may come up, things that pop up. But that's where faith really comes in hot and heavy.
Yep.
When I or anyone else is in doubt, we've got to silence the voice of negativity in our mind. Okay. We've got to harness our thoughts. And I've shared with you before, I've got a book coming out.
Yep.
Harness your thoughts, take the reins, control your life, and win. And that's what I believe. We got to harness our thoughts. We got to take the reins. We got to take control instead of giving our siblings, our parents, our uncles, our aunties, our friends, our coworkers, our preachers, our pastors, the reins. We got to reel it in and take control. It's called accountability. And so that's how I've really managed my life. I take accountability for whatever it is that I want to achieve. I also take accountability for any fear or doubt that I'm facing, and face it and face it. Mr. Les Brown said, fear is false evidence appearing real.
Yep.
I believe that fear is not only false evidence appearing real, but fear is the fact that you create from something that is false and you make it real. But when you decide, I'm not going to let this fear stop me, and that's how I've done it. I decided I'm not going to let this fear stop me. Sometimes, Lauren, you know what I had to tell my mind? Shut up. Just shut up. Silence. Peace be still. Silence of the lambs, right? I had to tell myself that. And then once I silenced that voice of fear, negativity, uncertainty, I was able to get a oneness. I was able to find the peace and the calm that helped me move forward to generate all the great things that I deserve. Because we all deserve great things. And we have to send out the energy to attract it. So I hope that answers your question.
I love that. And I did a speech, I think it's been a couple of years now, and it was, I don't think I ended up naming it this, but what I wanted to call it was kick fear in the face, because it will always, always come at you. And what I have learned, and let me preface this by, I love me some adrenaline.
Yes.
I have been skydiving and I loved it. And that is a very real fear of, I could die right now.
My best friend's going skydiving with her other best friend in August. So I feel you. I feel you. A little scary.
Yeah. But that is a very real fear of, I could die. It's a very real potential of that. But a lot of times what I have found with myself, and I have talked a lot of people through this, is when you're on the verge of making a big decision, having to make a big decision in a relationship, something that you want to move forward with, whatever the case may be, whether it be professional, whether it be personal, whether it just be deciding what your values are compared to what other people tell you they should be. It could be honestly anything, as you know. But that fear is, as you said, false.
Yep.
And it is so many of those things that form in our head. And it's, okay, is this actually real? Or am I just, pulling things out of thin air because I'm afraid of failure. I'm afraid of success. I'm afraid of outside judgment. And it's those blanket fears sometimes that, I don't know about you, I have been a horrible projector in my past. Sometimes I still fall back into that. But it sounds like you've kind of, taken the reins, and what I am still attempting to fully get those reins of is face that fear head on.
Exactly.
And, tell me if you've experienced this, is there will always be that fear. And the more success, however you define it, that you gain, the bigger it will come at you and the bigger things you will have to walk through in terms of fear.
Yes. I concur. Not only when we face our fear, what we do is we show up in a more positive way. Now, at first, some of us, we cower. I've cowered it. I think many people have cowered it in the face of fear many times. But as we grow and as we go and as we face our fear, we develop a pattern and a habit of conquering fear. Okay.
Yeah.
And so when we develop the habits of conquering fear, then we move more boldly and more how should I say, in the path of where we're really supposed to be going,
Yep.
and we let that fear kind of drip off of us, just like water dripping off of us when we come out the shower. It cannot go up, it must go down, because the gravity that we're creating is causing it to pull itself away from us. And we are also pulling away, because there is a success every time. There is a win every time when we face fear head on.
Yes.
And fear is very uncomfortable. Many people, in the crux of fear, they'll lie, they'll cry, they'll do a myriad of things because of fear. But when we really acknowledge, this is fear, I've been here before, I won before, and I'm going to win today. I've won before, I'm going to win today, I'm going to win tomorrow, and every day to come. We've made up our mind to establish a pattern, a habit of winning.
Yeah.
And so fear can never beat us. We'll always succeed. We'll always overcome. Will we have those moments? Of course.
Yep.
There's been times where speakers such as yourself and I, we'll get up on a stage and we'll get to talking, and then look out and you see all these thousands of people. And just for that moment, you might freeze.
Yeah.
But then that winner in all of us says, hey, get back on it. Get back on it.
Yep.
I put fear out the door, you keep going. And that's what we got to do. We just got to put that fear out of the door. We got to trust our gut. A lot of times we already know that we can do whatever the task is calling us to do. Lauren, I got to say this. Sometimes those that we think would be our biggest champions are not our biggest champions. And sometimes they will tell us that we're going to fail. And I've heard people say this to me. They've said, I thought that person was supposed to be my best friend, or, that's my mother, that's my dad. And I thought they would care and cheer me on the most, but they're telling me I'm not going to make it. But they made it anyway.
Yep.
So sometimes we have to get past those things too, even our family members or our closest friends. We have to get the fear of, what are they gonna say? Get past the things, okay? Yep. And get into the, I have already won.
Absolutely. And there's a couple things that kind of come to mind when you talk about that, because I've struggled with those exact things. And I'm like, okay, why do I feel like I'm not getting the encouragement that I want from where I want it from? And I heard something not long ago, and it really stuck with me. And it was talking a lot about those kinds of things. And I shouldn't say we all, so many people have that vision in their head. You know what you want.
Yep.
You may not know an extremely clear picture, but you know what you want. And you'll figure out how to get there. And you know that you can do it. If there's something we can do, we've already been equipped with the talents and the power to do it. And it is my personal belief that I believe that I can't do it without God, because that is my belief. And he helps me move so many higher mountains and people and things to where I'm like, okay, let's do this. But we all have a vision of who we want to be, where we want to go. And we get so wrapped up, excited, passionate about that vision. And then it's like, why is the rest of the world, why are all these people not like as excited as I am? And it is a really hard idea, concept to get your head wrapped around, that vision is in your head, and there are people who will be cheerleaders, who will support you.
Yes.
But when some of those other people don't, it's not always their fault that they don't have that vision and they're not as excited about something as you are.
Right. Because, Lauren, the fact of the matter is that whatever your vision is, the Most High gave that vision to you.
Yes.
So, as you know, when we put on our glasses,
Yeah.
for those of us who have challenge in vision, and I say for those of us, but I mean, everyone on the planet really at some juncture has had a challenge in vision.
Yep.
And I don't just mean from the physical sense. I mean from a spiritual sense, an emotional sense, the vision.
Right.
So what I realized is that the same glasses, if you will, that I had to put on to really see and remove the smoke so I could see the forest for the trees, that set of glasses was intended for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay if they don't see the vision, because the vision was intended for me to see.
Yep.
Those who are supposed to be a part of the vision, to support the vision, they will support it. Now, here's the thing, Lauren. A lot of times these people that are supposed to support this division are perfect strangers.
Yes.
And that's okay, because these perfect strangers that we think are strangers will become very familiar. But here's the caveat. Like I say, we think are perfect strangers. I say that because if we believe in source energy and God and Yahweh and the I am and Buddha, whatever our spiritual hierarchy is, if we really believe that, and we know that we are source energy, then that means we're all connected. So these so-called strangers that's coming to support you, they're not really strangers. You just haven't really met them in the physical, but energetically, you've gravitated them to you. And that book that I talked about earlier, in that book, it also says we have not because we ask not.
Yep.
So this is a part of when I say write it down, it also says write it down and make it plain. So when we're asking for stuff, right? When we're asking, we have to remember that the stuff, the people, places, and things may show up not in the little package that we designed for them to show up in, but they're going to show up anyway. Why? Because we asked, and they may not be our uncle, they may not be our mom, our dad, our sister, our brother, those that we think should have the shish boom ba, they may not show up, but your next door neighbor that you've never spoken to may have seen you in your office doing your show or writing your magazine or writing your book or hosting sessions with people that you train, and they've seen you and you've become a role model for them. And so one day they knock on your door. Hey, Lauren, what are you doing? I see you doing. Hey, listen, did you know that I own my own publishing company? I sure would want to. And out of nowhere, or so you think, here you have someone who is going to support you. Who's going to bring you value and who you're going to bring value. And it may not be your mom, it may not be your dad or those that you think should support you. But just know this, I want to say this. It's okay. Is it painful? Yes. It's very painful, very painful. I've felt it, I've seen it. Fortunately, my mom and my dad, they were very, very supportive. Sisters and brothers, they were supportive as well. But there has been times when maybe they couldn't come. Did it hurt my feelings? Did it make me feel bad? Yes, it did. Why? Because we are spiritual beings having a human experience. That is going to happen. But what I held on to was somebody loves me, somebody cares, I'm not forgotten. See, I'm on your show. Somebody loves me, somebody cares, right? So I just wanted to share that, Lauren, because I don't want people to think that, okay, fine, I'm not supposed to feel hurt. No. However you feel, but just know that the best is yet to come for you, and it doesn't necessarily, and it will not necessarily come from people you know. It may come from people who viewed you afar, who think you're awesome.
Absolutely. And you and I are on the same page with the writing. I have an entire chapter in my book as well on write it physically out, none of that type on your phone stuff,
Yep.
write it. And I absolutely agree. And all of that so beautifully just encompass the whole everything that this podcast is about of
Mhm.
listen to that inner gut, listen to your instincts, even
Mhm.
when it doesn't make sense, because sometimes it won't.
Yes, yes.
But
And it's
listen
not
to that.
easy. You
No,
know,
it's not. And most of the time, you got to listen to that gut when it is the hardest,
yes.
honestly. And
Yes.
that's when the breakthroughs come.
Yep.
But I love everything that you just said about that, because it is the exact thing that I talk about, that I love to talk about. And like you said, it is not talked about enough.
Exactly. I heard Les Brown, he said, if it's hard, do it hard. And that's a motto
Yep.
that I live by, because if you can do it when it's hard, look what you can do when it's easy.
Yes. I
Look
love
what you
that.
can do when it's easy. And here's the caveat to that. If you can trust your gut when it's hardest,
Yep.
look what you can do when trusting your gut when you're just in a simple situation and on a moment's notice, you've got to make a decision. You lean in on your gut and you say, this is what I'm going to do. And you don't look back. You just move forward into action. Look how much better and how much easier and how much balanced and how much stress free our lives will be. But we got to
I
do it until we
I
can.
agree. I agree. And you know, it's hard to listen and learn how to listen, learn to trust that feeling at first. But
Yes.
the more
Yep,
that
yep,
you
yep.
start to do it, you start to trust yourself to
Exactly.
know when you need to listen. I love that. Well,
Yep.
we are coming towards the end of our time. So I want to thank you again so much for your time. And if you wouldn't mind, I'd love a couple of tips from you, as well as how do people find you? We will put that in the show notes as well. But how do people find
Fantastic.
you?
So one of the things that I want to share, I think I shared this with you before. I have a planner. I have a new planner that's out. It's the 2023 Ignites Planner. Why am I sharing this planner with you, all our viewers? Because I want to help you plan to be successful. And the way you plan to be successful is you need a schematic to help you day in and day out to get to the success that you need. Get this planner. If you get this planner, it's going to help you. But until you get this planner, get a notebook. Write it down. That is your schematic. Why am I showing you a plan? Because if we plan, if we don't plan, if we fail to plan, then we plan to fail. So I want to say, please listen to your gut, listen to you, and plan to succeed. Write it down, make it plain. Don't worry about the days, because the days are going to be there whether you do good, bad, or indifferent.
Yep.
But what do you say about you? You can answer to a lot of different names, but what are you going to call you? What are you going to call yourself to? And what are you going to call you? A success or failure? Whichever one you call yourself, you're correct.
Absolutely. And let everybody know how they can find you.
So you can find me, go right to my website, www.lotusricheignites. You can go there. You can also check me out on social media. I am on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, just all over the place. Where are you putting out great messages? I'm putting out great messages. You can reach me on my shows Tuesday and Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And once a month, I'm on doing my books to boom your business. That's typically once a month on Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so if you have a message, a book, a show, please connect with me and let me connect with you and bring you to my show. And I'll be happy to come on your show. And Lauren, I just want to thank you for this opportunity to have people connect with me. And don't forget, if you need any type of videos. Your company needs a video, you need an intro, you need a bumper video for your show or your business, make sure you connect with me at lotusricheignitesyou.com. That's Lotus at lotusricheignitesyou.com. And you can reach me at 1-855-544-4574. You can call me and we'll connect. So thank you so much, Lauren.
Thank you so much, Lotus. And y'all, if this has not convinced you to go with your gut, please, please, wherever you are in the world today, whatever you're doing, whatever you have going on, please go with your gut and then always, always keep going.